and welcome to this video tutorial about creating jewels. A member of the Disinformation Resistance Community can take several actions, one of which is to make contributions to the knowledge bank. There are various kinds of elements in the knowledge bank. Now I'm going to talk about the most refined, which we call the jewel. The purpose of the jewel is to provide factual answers that are embedded inside nuggets already in the knowledge bank as answers to questions that visitors or members might have. Every one of the questions is prefixed with one of the 5 W or H words: who, what, when, where, how, and why. In this jewel, I'm going to be addressing bogus claims about election fraud during the 2020 presidential election. These are all going to be coming from the Republican losing candidate, Trump, mainly based on tweets and other places where he's made various statements. So let's start with the first question, which is about, was it really the case that there were more votes than voters who showed up in the swing states that Trump needed to win? And the answer was no, it's not really true. So let's say how much voter fraud occurred in the swing states during the 2020 election. And I have previously created a number of jewels, a number of nuggets that have the answers that we need. And the first of these is nugget post 31, which says basically no evidence that there was any voter fraud. So let's move on to add another pair. You can see here that the first question, how much voter fraud occurred, showed up, and the nugget that was cited, number 31, had this as its fact claim: no credible evidence of 2020 election fraud claim has been presented. How about the situation in Wisconsin? So we'll say, how much voter fraud occurred in Wisconsin during the 2020 election? Of course, this was another bogus claim made by Trump, and I've addressed it with nugget 32. So I'll just paste this in again and change 31 to 32, and we're done with that one. And you can see what I'm doing is I'm laying the groundwork for visitors to find these nugget fact claims because they've got questions that they'd like to have answered. So let's add that. You can see that it shows up here. And now we'll move on to Pennsylvania, which was the subject of the next one. How much voter fraud occurred in Pennsylvania? In this case, Trump went back to a 1993 situation in Philadelphia to give evidence that this must be happening again during the 2020 election. So we'll finish that question. We'll cite the next nugget, which is 33, and then we'll add another QA pair. You can see that now 3 are there, and the fourth one is about Nevada. So we'll say how much voter fraud was reported, in Nevada during the 2020 election. We'll cite the next nugget in the sequence, which would be 34, and we'll add that. And that'll bring us to our last one, which is, why did he fire Krebs, who was his cybersecurity czar? And the answer was basically because Krebs said there was no evidence of voter fraud. So why did Trump fire Krebs, who claimed there was no voter fraud during the election? let's do voter fraud during the 2020. Pardon me. One should never have to type and make a video at the same time. All right, this brings us to the last one. We'll paste in number 35. And at this point, instead of adding another QA pair to this Joule, we're going to finish this up and submit it. Now, in order to finish it up, we want to put some tags here, which will allow people to search the knowledge bank by hashtags. And I've been using a small set of these in the Nuggets, so let's repeat them here. So one is Trump lies. Another one is Donald Trump himself. Another one is election disinformation. Of course, we should probably have the 2020 election in here too. And the last one would be attacks on democracy. And I'm finding the pre-existing hashtags and just clicking them. Now, whenever you contribute to our knowledge bank as a member in good standing of the DRC, you're basically committed to honesty and civility, and the endorser's checklist requires that you fact check your assertions. I have done that, so I will assess this as trusted, and I'll finish up, and that's all there is to it. The Joule is now there. Here we see it. So this concludes our tutorial on how to create a Joule. We believe Joules will be extremely valuable to visitors and other members who have questions and want to find crowdsourced, contributed, trusted answers to those questions. Thanks very much.